let's begin looking at research and innovation and how the lighthouses are going to support research and innovation. And as you can see, this is almost an all-woman panel, but there are two gentlemen who are going to be joining us, I hope. So if you're in the audience, Eric Schwab, and if Chris Gorrell-Barnes is in the audience,
didn't get the memo.
Please do take a seat. I thought it would be nice if everybody sat together. Excellent. So let's have a look at this this session, which is on research and innovation. And I'm going to ask Sheila Heymans, sitting next to me, who's the Executive Director of the European Marine Board, the leading European think tank in marine policy, to say how she sees research and innovation supporting the Charter.
Thank you. Oh, hold on. That's okay. Can you guys hear me? No? I have nothing. I mean, I'm loud enough, but can you hear me now?
Could we put the microphones on, please?
Hello. Oh, there we go. Excellent. So, Sheila Heymans from the European Marine Board. And just a little quick overview. The European Marine Board is a science policy organization. We represent 35 members from 18 countries, marine countries in Europe, and we represent more than 10,000 scientists and technicians across those institutions. So, and what we do is we basically bring scientists together to highlight the research that we need for the next little while, and specifically the research that are needed for policy making. So what I thought I would do is I would highlight some of the work that we're doing at the moment and how that actually fits into the Charter, specifically the objectives. So I'm going to go through the three objectives and show you and tell you about some of the things that we're doing and how that fits in. So I'll start with the first objective on protecting and restoring marine and freshwater ecosystems and biodiversity. And I'll start with the first working group that we're working on at the moment is on coastal resilience. So obviously coastal resilience is very important if you want to restore the marine and freshwater ecosystems. And in that working group, we will be looking not just at the natural resilience, so not just at the natural sciences, but also at the social resilience, so the resilience of the people living in those areas. And this is specifically important under climate change. So this will feed into the Atlantic and Arctic Lighthouse, and it will highlight things like nature-based solutions and the resilience that are needed under the EU Biodiversity Strategy. So that's the first one. The second one is the working group on marine habitat mapping, which is obviously going to be really important for the 30 by 30 strategy under the Biodiversity Strategy as well. And they will make recommendations on which habitats need to be protected and what are the new tools that you need in order to map these habitats well. This is obviously critically important for the mapping of marine biodiversity and the changes in habitats, and the data will be integrated into EMODnet. So if I look at Objective 2 on eliminating pollution, we have a new working group on ocean oxygen. That's obviously also important for biodiversity because ecosystem biodiversity is dependent on ocean oxygen. But on preventing and eliminating pollution, there is an obvious link with nutrient pollution coming down rivers, and so our oxygen working group will really be highlighting that. Then on the third objective, on how to make a sustainable blue economy carbon neutral, again, oxygen will feed into that because it's part of the climate change story. But we also have a working group on marine renewable energy, which provides scientific guidance and input to develop the marine renewable sector. So again, feeding into Objective 3. Then finally, I want to talk about the two overarching, what are they called, enablers. The Digital to an Ocean is one of those, and the Marine Board is part of a Horizon 2020 project called Ecoscope, which is specifically leading, addressing that by looking at the ecosystem, sustainable ecosystem services and management of fisheries ecosystems. So that's one. And then on the enabler for public mobilization, I want to highlight that we have just last week launched a new Future Science brief on marine science communication, which specifically speaks to that, which highlights the need for positive ocean news instead of always just talking about the negatives, but highlights the need to change the culture in science organizations to support soft skills like science communication, the need for a database or platform to highlight the best practices in science communication, and of course the link that we should be making to all these things like the Mission Ocean, linking the Mission Ocean to the Ocean Decade. So I think that is the things that we are already doing, and obviously all of our future work will specifically feed into the Charter as well. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for aligning with the work that you're doing with the priorities of the mission. We're now going to be joined remotely by Gianluca Consoli, Director General for Internationalization and Communication at the Ministry of Research and Education in Italy. And Gianluigi is going to talk to us about the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership. Gianluigi, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. And thank you for giving me the floor. First of all, I would like to thank the organization for the interesting question which I am asked to answer. I have to explain what the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership under Horizon Europe will bring to Mission Ocean and Water's implementation. I'll try to be very brief. As you know, the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership proposal has successfully been evaluated, and it is now in the grant agreement preparation stage. It is an impressive project. It includes 59 partners from 25 countries, member states and associated countries, together with the European Commission. It is an unprecedented effort to pool R&D investments and align programs at the pan-European scale. The ambition is to launch 6 co-funded calls over a 7-year time frame to support R&D joint programming on thematic priority areas of interventions stemming from a co-designed area. In our opinion, what the partnership can bring to the mission is essential. It is in the nature of the missions to set very ambitious objectives around which to create critical mass in terms of human resources, tools, and financial resources. In the effort to achieve such ambitious objectives, the partnership acts as an armed wing, being the instrument that actually allows the member states to be involved, and within them, all the subjects functional to the achievement of the objectives. The European Union, with the missions, has launched challenges which only concrete projects in international cooperation can help to achieve, with massive human resources and budgets. Basically, we think that the mission is a target that is concretely achieved through projects. With regard to Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, Italy, through the Ministry of University and Research, plays the role of European coordinators of the entire initiative. 2 calls are planned to be funded during the first grant agreement. The first will be launched in the first quarter of 2023, and the second one in the first quarter of 2024. To this end, Ministry of University and Research has collected the contributions from member states, in total 73 million euros in cash for the 2 calls of the first grant agreement, for the purpose of partnership itself, and in relation to 1 or more interventions area identified so far, and that should characterize the first grant agreement of the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership. Some of these intervention areas will be subsea basin tests of the ocean digital twin, blue generation marine structures, blue food, and so on. So the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership will also identify additional mechanisms for alignment and look for further economic support for R&I programs, leveraging other funding and financial streams. In parallel, a long-term structuring ambition will support the creation of a community of practice, fostering co-creation, coordinating all relevant initiatives at sea basin, and further promoting the EU blue economy at global level. In essence, what the mission needs for its objectives to be carried forward in an organization and a pooling of resources that the partnership can guarantee in the best possible way. Let me add in conclusion that Italy, as my minister has said in the video, supports the mission charter and will promote it, with particular regard to the Mediterranean, starting with the event scheduled at the end of October in Naples, here in Italy. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Gianluigi, and for again reiterating the support of Italy and mentioning the event in Naples. We're now going to be joined by another remote speaker, Guy Cochrane, archiving leader and executive director of the Global Biodata Coalition at the European Molecular Biology Laboratory. It's an intergovernmental organization dedicated to molecular biology research. Guy, thank you very much for joining us. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you to the, good evening everybody, and thank you for the invitation to this important event. So for those of you present in person at the Oceanário, will likely have witnessed there is great beauty and fascination in ocean life, and the living component of oceans and waters, though, also provide important direct values to humankind: oxygen, carbon capture, source of food and products, and so on. And while there's been much exploration, there's a lot that is yet to be discovered. Much of aquatic life remains undiscovered and unmapped. And so to achieve ocean and water health, we really do need to know how aquatic ecosystems are composed and work, what the sensitivities are to insult, climate change, pollution, etc., how we can responsibly discover and make use of products from aquatic environments, and how we can deploy biological methods better to monitor ocean and water health. So here I'm representing the European Molecular Biology Laboratory, as you heard. This is an international treaty organization that offers both a broad research program, of which a theme is planetary biology, but also offers a set of life science data resources and services that it provides openly to the world. So EMBL has led and partnered in projects that seek to explore and understand aquatic environments. These range from laboratory-based studies using, for example, marine worms, looking at nervous development and evolution, to large-scale expeditions, especially with the Tara expeditions, Tara Foundation. Tara is a research vessel that's equipped to sample for latest genomics and imaging and other technologies. And it runs pioneering expeditions in ecosystem investigation, biodiversity profiling, and looking at the impacts of human activity, such as pollution from plastics. We partner with a number of other projects around vessels, fixed stations, methods development, and so on. And projects can be listed such as MicroB3, Atlantico, BioOcean 5D, and these are supported by the European Union under its Horizon programs. I should mention as well the flagship EMBL program, TREC, which is traversing European coastlines, that is just starting off. So not only do these studies that we're involved in ask research questions themselves, they also provide substantial open data. They provide these data in discoverable and reusable form to seed onward discovery and interpretation by the broad scientific community around the world. And so this is a good point to introduce more EMBL's scientific data resources, which provide globally comprehensive data and access across genomics, sequencing, and many other data types and platforms. And we provide these openly and freely to the world. And they're used very heavily by scientists in all parts of the world. We have in the order of 18 million daily web requests onto our servers requesting data and services. So the services are there to support research and understanding of the oceans and freshwater environments, carried out for all sorts of different purposes by scientists around the world. So we work with partners under the European Elixir research infrastructure on marine data standards, building best data practice, and many other things around Europe, and with the Global Biodata Coalition, which is my further affiliation, to work to assure the sustainability of these data resources themselves to provide a very firm foundation, the firmest foundation for science. So EMBL's data resources provide a critical input into models of oceans, and we're working with such projects as Blue Cloud. That's another EU Horizon funded project and part of the European Open Science Cloud. And the function there is to provide the biological data from our resources alongside those coming from other disciplines, physical oceanography, climatology, fisheries data, and so on, to provide an interdisciplinary analysis environment. And with Blue Cloud, and we hope further projects in the future, we will be able to connect our data to the emerging digital twin of the ocean to allow modeling, projection, scenario building, and so on. So finally, science advances by building on what has come before. New biological data typically makes sense only when seen in the context of all existing data, what has come before. And the value is really in the whole rather than in the parts. And so sharing and serving data openly is key to enabling science, and certainly enabling aquatic science. So we're active in advocating for open data as an essential vehicle for equitable access to global science for the world. And we engage in many different international dialogues around open data and access and benefit sharing, particularly around CBD, digital sequence information, unclosed areas beyond national jurisdiction, and so on. So anyway, I hope I've been able to highlight some of our life science initiatives, services, and approaches that will be of importance to the Charter. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Guy. And I was just reflecting, there are so many initiatives under the EU Horizons programme. So we've heard from policymakers, we've heard from scientists, and of course, the mission aims to empower communities to take action, citizen engagement. So it's my pleasure now to introduce the Executive Director of Seas at Risk, an association of environmental organisations from across Europe that works together to ensure that life in our seas and oceans is abundant, diverse, and climate resilient. Executive Director Monica Fairbeck, please tell us more about this work and your support for the mission.
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. As you just explained, we are a network of environmental organizations. On behalf of those environmental organizations, we work to get the right policies in place that will support a healthy ocean. So we are not directly involved with the citizens as such, but our members are. So in light of the Charter and of the fact that, that I was asked to tell a little bit what citizens can do, I will explain a little bit what our members do. They're involved in very many things. For example, as a lot of you will know, there's always beach cleanups. Many of our members participate or organize beach cleanup, and then it's not just to clean up the beach, but also to systematically gather information on what is found on those beaches, and that's been put in reports. Those reports are used, for example, by OSPAR to develop their action plan on marine pollution, for example. We have members that are co-managing marine protected areas together with fishers and local authorities, and indeed contribute to rebuilding fish populations which then spill over outside these marine protected areas, contributing for fishers for easier catch. We also have members that develop good fish guides that inform consumers which fish to eat based on the method on which this fish is caught and based on the status of the stock from which the fish is taken. There's also fish basket schemes, so where our members actually help organize that fishers, small-scale fishers, bring their catch to shore, but already before it comes to shore, consumers can say, okay, today or this week I'd like to have a basket of fish of 10 kilo, 5 kilo, 1 kilo, and they will just get what was caught. So not just the most known commercial species, but everything that was caught by this fisherman, and this fisherman then has a certainty that he will have, he can sell his fish. One thing where we do play a role is our members collect local examples of alternatives for single-use plastics, our alternative schemes, and we collect all of them. We have put them in an interactive map on our website, and we are addressing local authorities to have a look at it, because this exchange of practices in how to get rid of single-use plastics really helps, and it's just a sharing of knowledge. But as I said, our main role, Seas at Risk role, is to ensure accountability and transparency towards the public. And we are making policy makers aware, and we are raising questions. And for example, at the start of the mandate of this commission, we developed together with 5 other NGOs, we published a Blue Manifesto, which is a roadmap to a healthy ocean with set out all the policy decisions that should be taken in order to get there by 2030. And we did that at the start of the mandate. We were supported by over 100 European NGOs in it, all supportive of this. I think it also helped inspire a little bit the Ocean Mission. And we really are using it also annually to look at what steps have already been taken down this road, and we are scrutinizing policymakers for this. So every year we publish an assessment if those milestones, policy milestones, have been attained. Well, unfortunately, of the first 2 years in this mandate, where we had 20 milestones, only 2 were fully achieved, 8 partly, 7 not at all, and for 2 there was so little progress we couldn't assess it. We will continue to scrutinize policy decisions, and we will bring the right solutions to the policymakers. We will make sure that the policymakers are aware of the public support for these solutions. We have organized petitions only recently. In 2 months' time, we had 150,000 signatures to support a ban on bottom trawling in marine protected areas. And so that these politicians can then, and the policymakers can then take the bold choices that need to be made if we want to get to a healthy ocean. They can feel supported by the public at large, and we'll make sure that they will be heard. And I have 5 seconds left to have this assessment, to give it to at least one of the 3 European institutions that's still left here. So, Matthias, as your, I would like to give this as the representative of the member states. Please make sure that the next year, when we do the next assessment, we can say that you're getting better in getting on the road down to a healthy ocean.
Thank you, Monica, and for seizing the opportunity as a good environmental activist of getting your message across, and also talking on behalf of your members for some of those very practical things that you were talking about. Let's now hear from Ines Ferreira Guedes, who's a marine biologist and science communicator from Porto in Portugal. Please give us that young person's perspective that we're always asking for.
Thank you, Claire. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me thank you for the very inspiring, I hope, interventions that we've had so far. I was sitting there wondering, days like this just make me believe that when ocean lovers get together, great things happen. So a bit about me. You told I am originally from Porto, but I'm working in the south of Portugal. I am Ines, a marine biologist working in Lagos, Ciência Viva Science Center, as a science communicator. I am part of the Youth for Ocean Forum, and I'm an European Union Young Ocean Advocate. Being part of the Youth for Ocean Forum is a really nice way to implement the mission and the charter we are working on today and for the next decade. So if you are really passionate about the ocean, you consider yourself change makers, and you're between 16 and 30 years old, I can see a lot of people, including me, that was less than 30 before the pandemic started. This is the perfect platform for you. The Youth for Ocean Forum is free and open, and young change makers can meet to discuss and to take action on different ocean topics, from food to climate and ocean health. Now, we are 230 members working in 5 different sea basins. We are working in the Arctic and Atlantic Ocean, in the Black, Baltic, and Mediterranean Sea. And we have 73 amazing projects on the go. And today, here I am presenting you the project that allowed me to become a young ocean advocate. To become a young ocean advocate, you should first be a member of the Youth for Ocean Forum, and then you should submit a project. This will give you the opportunity to network with peers, mentors, and European leading experts, and to participate in working groups along with stakeholders and decision makers, and to pitch your ideas in big events like this. So here I am. The Ocean Court is the project that allowed me to become a young ocean advocate. So I work in Lagos, Ciência Viva Science Center, one of the 21 Ciência Viva Science Museums network here in Portugal. And the center where I work in Lagos is located in Lagos, as I said, and that is a city in the Algarve with a population, a community of around 35,000 people, widely dependent of the ocean, both professionally and in recreative way. Everything in Lagos is about the ocean. I'm a privileged one. Even the school where I teach every day has a sea view. However, there is a huge gap in terms of ocean literacy within the community. And the Ocean Court, my project, aims to narrow this gap. Through the Lagos Ciência Viva Science Center, I do everyday science classes with kids from 6 to 9 years old. And working with these kids means we are engaging with their families that are typically local fishermen, fishmongers, work as tour operators, or even in the municipality and other institutions. Thus, we give the community the opportunity to take action. And we perform several ocean literacy activities. Some of them are common. These actions, they reach a large part of the community. In a nutshell, the kids involved in the Ocean Court are nominated ocean judges, and this will empower them to nominate people from their circles as ocean defenders. By the way, I would like to present you someone. I would like to present you Bubble, that some of my students made, to answer their parents, to make a video answering their parents, how do sperm whales dive to great depth? Okay, it was a question. The light bulb actually came one day. I was cycling home, and I realized that in 2030, all my students will be adults. And they will hopefully be adults with a different, a better, and a more respectful perspective of the ocean and its importance. And this is the inspiration for my everyday work, and Bubble to be a happy puppet. Poor guy. To finish, let me thank you, Lagos Ciência Viva Science Center, for all the support, the European Commission to the honorous invitation, and thank you all for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ines and Bobo, and indeed, I can see, indeed, we will remember, and most probably the synergies with the policy of science communication and what you do so effectively. Thank you, Ines. So we heard at the beginning from Donna Bertarelli about the importance of public-private partnerships, and we're going to now bring in the two gentlemen who are sitting there very quietly to ask about their involvement. And first of all, let me go to the Vice President of the People and Nature Environmental Defence Fund, a leading environmental non-profit organization, Eric Schwab.
Thank you. And always difficult to follow a science communicator. Sorry. But I do want to first thank you for the opportunity to be here with you and congratulate the EU on the launch of the charter here today. This is very impressive to me to see the enthusiasm that is here and the richness of content that is already coming to this important work. And there is no important work than securing the future for our oceans and waters, and so thank you for that. So I am the Vice President for People and Nature, which is my group within the Environmental Defense Fund. The Environmental Defense Fund is a global civil society organization. We work on all aspects but in a very focused way of the climate challenge. Now, we've heard here already this week and even already here this afternoon about the climate crisis and the imperative to address climate pollution. We also work, as many of you do, to deal with the challenges that are already being felt, securing a future for fisheries and oceans and freshwater systems and the people and communities that depend upon them in the face of those challenges. The good news for us all is that, as we have also heard already here this week at the conference, is that the ocean is at the nexus of the climate challenge, both feeling the effects of the changes already underway, but serving as an important solution to our future. And so EDF, Environmental Defense Fund, is very excited to be in a position to work on those issues. We were asked by the Ocean Mission leadership to begin to engage not only on behalf of the Environmental Defense Fund, but on behalf of civil society organizations around the world to align interests and opportunities associated with the activities and the goals that are outlined in the Charter. And I just want to say, from the perspective of civil society organizations, particularly from those outside of the EU, that we're excited about this because of the strong position that the European Union holds in the future of our oceans. You have, as we've already heard here today, important thought leadership opportunities, leadership around innovation. You are at an incredible position with respect to global marketplace and have already demonstrated important policy advances. In the Environmental Defense Fund worked with the EU when you reformed your common fisheries policy a number of years ago, which set the foundation for, I think, some of the work that is going forward here. And so one of the points that I wanted to make was that critical to this collaboration and critical to building the kind of coalitions and alignment that I think are important to all of us is that you recognize the role that you play, not just in securing a future for oceans and waters within the EU, but recognize the role that you play in extending that impact much beyond the borders of the EU. I think you know that, but I felt the need to emphasize it. One of the other things that I have heard already here, which is very important to us, is your intention to co-create and the intention to engage with citizens in this important work. We also feel like that is very important. We work in the ranges from coastal communities and the people who are on the front lines of the climate challenge, all the way through to national and international policy improvements that are needed. And at every step of the way, the policy positions have to come from the ground up, and they have to be accepted and adopted and owned by the people on the front lines. And so we think that is very important. So we do feel like NGOs can be, civil society organizations can be an important bridge. You know, we bring these global perspectives, we bring these global action interests, we bring these global advocacy interests, and by putting ourselves in a position to facilitate the kind of conversation that we think will maximize the value both to the EU and to the world through the work of this charter, that we can deliver great things even in the face of these climate challenges for people and for nature for years and decades to come, and appreciate and look forward to continuing collaboration with the mission as we go forward.
Thank you very much, Eric. Well, most probably everybody in the room knows what impact investing is, and I'm now delighted that we're going to hear from Ocean 14 Capital, an impact investment private equity firm that invests in companies and technologies that provide sustainable solutions for our oceans. Please welcome founding partner Chris Gorrell-Barnes, who's going to talk about his support.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Great to be here in Lisbon. We've actually got an office in Lisbon, and it's great. This charter it's fantastic. It's a mission. This is arguably the most important thing that we need to do is to ensure a healthy ocean to protect humanity. I've been on a journey of ocean conservation. I co-founded the Blue Marine Foundation 12 years ago because I was aware of how bad things were in the ocean, and then it was impossible to even get £5,000 out of people from a philanthropy perspective. 12 years later, the Blue Marine Foundation is now the largest and the most impactful marine NGO in Europe, Middle East and Africa. We've protected 5 million square miles of ocean. We have sustainable fishing models all over the world. We have marine protected areas in Italy, in Greece, in the Aeolian, in Minorca, in Majorca. So it's an amazing foundation. It's been a great journey, but it was clear to me that about 2.5 years ago that philanthropy wasn't enough. There's no way we're going to do what's necessary to protect and restore the ocean through philanthropy. We need to drive a sustainable and a regenerative blue economy. We have an enormous economy out there. It's $3 trillion economy. It's equivalent to the 7th largest country's GDP. The blue economy is amazing, but it's been completely overlooked by investors. People have not been investing in it. They haven't been putting capital in it. So we launched Ocean 14 Capital 3 years ago. We've been backed by the European Investment Fund. They've anchor invest us with 35 million euros. So at 150 million euros will be the largest fund in the blue economy, and it is an impact fund, and it's very, very important that we need a revolution in impact investing to drive the necessary change within the blue economy. And we focus on 2 key areas, which is food security and marine ecosystems. Food security, blue foods, is arguably the most important investment area of our life. If we are to ensure food security for a growing population, blue foods is going to be the answer. We need to invest in sustainable aquaculture. We need to drive innovation and technology into aquaculture. We need to invest and drive sustainable fisheries. We need to look at blockchain, digital marketplaces, transparency in fisheries. We need to invest in alternatives to fish protein. One of the biggest issues with aquaculture is the fact that we feed wild fish to farm fish. It's one of the most environmentally damaging forms of farming, so alternative protein. So those 3 areas we invest in, and we're investing in growth stage companies, so 5 to 20 million checks into those companies to help them transform. And what we want these companies to be is to become the most impactful companies, because we know that businesses that are sustainable and impactful will be more valuable. So Ocean 14 Capital helps these businesses be impactful. And every single investment that we make, we create an impact action plan with our companies that they sign up to, which will have KPIs of how much impact this company is going to have on the ocean. And we will then put that to our LPAC, of which EIF are on, and we only get 30% of our performance fee as long as we hit those impact KPIs. And what do we need to do as a group in this room? We need to create a framework for what is a sustainable investment in the blue economy, because we need that in order to channel the necessary capital that's needed to transform the sustainable blue economy. The only way we are going to save the ocean is to transform that economy, and that needs billions and billions and billions and billions of euros to transform it. And the institutional capital that we need is too slow. They won't take the risk. They don't like first-time managers. These pension funds, they're too slow and too risk-adverse. So we need the sovereign wealth funds like EIF that have been, so brave and agile to invest in us as a first-time fund, to come in and invest in impact investing so that we can actually create this blue economy that will actually drive the necessary change, employ people, and improve the health of the ocean. And some of the investments that we've made recently, we've invested in a genetics and technology company, which is going to transform the shrimp industry. The shrimp industry has got a very bad rap. It's a very important industry. It's growing to 58 billion euros by 2030, but it's incredibly inefficient. It's damaging. It uses a lot of water, uses a lot of feed. If we can use genetics and technology to make that industry more sustainable, more efficient, more effective, we can have a hugely positive impact on the oceans and make more profitable businesses. And we've just recently invested in a company called ION, which is a Norwegian company spun out of Aker, and that is defining a whole new system for circularity for plastics. It's called Circularity as a Service, to help big industry make sure that they keep their plastics inventory in a loop and it doesn't go to the ocean, and at the same time taking plastics out of the ocean. So my call to action here is the sovereign wealth funds and the governments need to invest more in the blue economy, because that is the only way we're going to restore the ocean to health, is to make sure we have a sustainable and a regenerative blue economy. It will employ jobs and it will ensure the health of the ocean, so that therefore we have the opportunity for humanity to exist on this planet. Thank you.
Chris, that was a great pitch for impact investing. Thank you very much for that. And I think we often talk about public-private partnerships, and it's really good to get that private sector investment in this conference. And most probably it's a panel all in itself on blue impact investing. So I would like to very much thank all of our speakers remotely and also here on stage from the research and innovation community of all generations, whether it's policymakers, scientists, activists, and philanthropists for joining us. I'd like to ask you to go back to your seats because we're now coming to the final part of our event.